currently spend on assessment. And I'm still very, very concerned about that piece. In addition to that, you know, the part of the Common Core, and this is more philosophical for me than anything, you know, part of the Common Core and the sale of the Common Core was that states can have 15% of standards of, you know, different or above the Common Core. Well, that's good. You know, that we can for lack of a better term, Georgify those standards and add some things. But if we're adding some things and, you know, Mississippi's adding some different things and Tennessee's adding some different things and New York's adding some different things, it's going to be very hard for that common assessment to reflect those additions, because those additions are going to be different from state to state. So the reality of what gets tested, gets taught, comes into play. If that 15% is not on those common assessments, do you think it's going to get taught in our classrooms? Maybe some, but not in a lot of places. So there's still a part of me that wants to reserve some control and authority over our assessment piece, just simply because I want to make sure that it's reflective of what we're actually teaching in our classroom. So that's just more philosophical for me. The cost of it is a major, major concern in reality. All right. Let's talk about just for a moment, you know, since there are such issues here, what are the resources that are available? One of the things that we find in our meeting earlier today, Sandy Woodall, our mathematics specialist, was talking with us about how she's surprised at how many teachers still don't know what they have access to. They still don't know about georgiastandards.org. And that really shouldn't be. You know, every teacher should know what resources are out there and available. And so one of the things that we will be providing for you very soon is, and Sandy talked about this recently, is a poster that will come to every school that you can post in a workroom, a mailroom, somewhere prominent in your school that lists all this information for your teachers. The CCGPS resources for English Language Arts, Math, and Literacy. The CCGPS Grade Band email listservs. The CCGPS Grade Band teacher forums, and all that's available on georgiastandards.org. And the poster will point them to that. Additionally, the teacher resource link is now available to all teachers and administrators for free. If you do not yet know about the teacher resource link, get with Bob Swigum. He is here. I've seen him. I've talked with him. There he is, front row, right in front of me. It's an incredible resource, and it continues to grow. Just 6 months ago, we were looking at, we had 10,000 pieces of digital content in the teacher resource link. That's now 18,000. So we're continuing to grow that. We're continuing to add to it as much as we can, but it's all digital content that is aligned to the standards. And what that resource link will allow your teachers to do is look at their data in the longitudinal data system, look at student performance, go find out where their students are weak by standard, go into that teacher resource link, click the standards where their students are weak, and hit Get Resources. And instantly they have every bit of digital content at their fingertips designed specifically to remediate or accelerate on that particular standard. It's also aligned to professional learning. So if you as a principal know, based on student performance, that students in Miss Jones' coordinated algebra class are not performing very well in geometry on the EOCT. They did very well on all the other domains, but they tanked on geometry. Well, you can go into, as a principal, your teacher can, it's not just you, but you can work with your teacher. You know how difficult it was always to create those professional learning plans? You know, what resources do you have? Where do you send them to help them improve? Now you have this teacher resource link. You can go to the standards, you can click the standards, you can hit Get Resources, and you can access every bit of digital content of professional learning that we have available for teachers to help assist them in improving student achievement where their students are weak. So that's available now to every teacher in the state. Additionally, future access. Now, this is not ready yet. Let me tell you that where we are in this particular scheme, what is coming is a statewide learning management system to create that personal learning environment for your students. So it's not just the data, and it's not just the digital content, but it gives the teacher now the ability to assign those resources to the student. The student complete those resources, and that information is instantly back into the system as far as their growth and that type of thing. Now, this is currently being piloted in a couple of our districts. Clark and Barrow, I believe, are working on that with us, and will be released in September, we hope, to any district that would like to have access to it. It's not going to be released statewide as far as like the access to the teacher resource link, in that in order for it to really be effective and for you to understand it, you need to have already been using the longitudinal data system, and unfortunately we do have some districts that aren't on board fully yet with the longitudinal data system. And so your teachers need to be in there using that system and be familiar with that system before they could take full advantage of the learning management system. So that's kind of give you some motivation to continue to move forward in the learning longitudinal data system. But that is coming, the learning management system. And then additionally coming, is the, I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong dates on that. That pilot for Clark and Barrow is the Learning Object Repository. I confused two of my points here. The Learning Object Repository now is being piloted. It's going to be open in the fall for those districts that want access to it. Allows you to upload your own district level content to the longitudinal data system. Many of you saw the resources that we have. That's great, but what we have is better. Okay, well, that's good. Well, now you're going to have the ability to upload that to the longitudinal data system. So you will still be able to have that one-stop shop for your teacher to use one login, one password, and be able to access everything. So you'll be able to upload that information, and that should be available to districts who want it in September. Now, the learning management system we're hoping be piloting in September, and then open statewide to those who want it in the spring based on a solid performance during the pilot. The final piece that will come with all of the technology in this path to a personalized learning environment for our students is the inclusion of our online assessment system into the learning management system, and having all of that accessible at that particular point. But that's still to come. All right. I'm running low on time, so let me hit a couple of other things. Summer training schedule. Most of you heeded the pleas for getting on board with the training in TEACS and LEAKS, the Teacher and Leader Evaluation System. And we have, I think, all but 8 of our districts who are in some form or fashion going to be implementing the evaluation system this fall. These are the training dates this summer for those of you who are just coming on board: July 22nd through the 26th, July 29th through August 2nd. At the end of that training, there is a test. You have to be credentialed in order to be an evaluator. Now, there will also be some additional trainings in the fall for those of you that could not make it to these, and those will be more regional. Okay, so look for more information on that. All right. Update on Georgia's career clusters and pathways. I want to give you just some quick updates. This, again, takes place this fall with the entering freshman class. These pathways are all about providing the relevance that we talked about. Let me tell you a quick story about a young man that we met on one of our school visits. I know we've got some folks here from Newton County. I've seen you. We went and visited the Newton County College and Career Academy this past spring and met a young man who told us their culinary arts program provided a lunch for us, that the students cooked, the students served as part of their career pathway in culinary arts. The student shared with us that he had planned on dropping out of school. And this is a direct quote from him. We asked him to write it down that we could use it. He said that attending the Newton College and Career Academy this year was an eye-opening experience for me. Prior to attending the College and Career Academy, I had a very dim outlook on the world of academia. School seemed somewhat pointless, and I had no drive or goals. I found passion when I was given the opportunity to work with my hands and truly exploit my talents. I found something I truly love to do, and I'm utterly excited for the future now that I have discovered this passion. This young man went on, I think, to win either first or second place in the state in the culinary arts competition, and went on to national competition. And he has every intention of fulfilling his dream now of being a chef, and he's on track to graduate. And it's because the career pathway helped him find an opportunity for him to be successful. It wasn't just about academia. It was about finding something he liked to do with that. And so that's what we're excited about. These are the kinds of stories that you guys are helping us write every day. And with the implementation of the Career Pathways Initiative this year, I'm confident that we'll have more stories like this. Now, one thing that we did hear loud and clear on our career pathways is the need for some additional pathways. In addition to the ones that we had with the 17 career clusters, these 3 additional pathways also exist: advanced academic, modern languages, and fine arts. Each of these require a minimum of 3 courses. Now, granted, in advanced academia or advanced academics, if you're doing English, math, and science, you're going to take 4 because of the state graduation rule. But in social studies, the requirement is 3, so that's why that number there is 3. But one of those courses must be in an AP course or a dual enrollment course in order to have your pathway requirement met under the pathway of advanced academics. Modern world languages, it's not just 2 to meet the graduation rule. Well, it's not graduation rule anymore, but it's not just the requirement of 2 to enter the university system, but it's a requirement of 3 world languages, 3 courses in the same world language, and of course 3 fine arts courses in the same area of interest. So those are pathways that have been added to what we already have in existence under the 17 clusters. Now, your students can complete more than one pathway. You could have a student who completes a culinary arts pathway and an advanced academics pathway. They can complete 4 pathways. It's up to them, okay? Now, you need to know some things about budget cuts and staff reductions. Sequestration is coming for us. That's going to have a fairly nice impact at the state level. And state revenue have led to more budget cuts at the DOE, just like you guys have faced in your local areas. Some areas that may potentially be impacted. We are skipping slides here. Well, we're missing a slide. Would be and at this point we're not sure how it will continue to move forward. There is a desire from the state board that we continue to move it forward, but our Ask DOE service at the department will probably be streamlined in some form or fashion in those reductions. IDEA, we're taking an 8.5% cut within that because of sequestration. And another impact of sequestration will deal directly with CTAE, which will result in some limited staff at the department within CTAE as well. We've lost some folks that you probably may interface with, but not normally on a regular basis, but we've lost some staff within our 20th floor office, but hopefully you won't see any impact on our day-to-day operations. All right, now let me end. I've got about 7 minutes left. Let me end with some good news, and I know that superintendents, you've heard this before, but this is another reason why I'm so incredibly proud to be your superintendent and to sing your praises wherever I go. That despite at least $5 billion in cuts to the education funding formula since 2003, despite students in 2/3 of our school districts being in school less than 180 days a year, despite pay cuts for thousands of Georgia's teachers in the form of furlough days. Every furlough day is about a 2% pay cut for a teacher. You're on 5 furlough days, that's a pretty significant pay cut. That's about what it amounts to, okay? And layoffs. I mean, we've 4,400 teachers fewer than we used to have. Despite all of that, Georgia public schools are seeing increases in student achievement. Let's look at those. The 2013 Education Week Quality Counts Report. If you didn't read it, if you didn't see it, I encourage you to do so. Education Week studies the educational systems in every state in the country. They grade each state's system on 129 different indicators. And all of that is rolled up. They assign a grade to each one of those indicators. It all rolls up into a single grade for the state's educational system. And then they rank those states based on the grades. And for the second consecutive year, Georgia, the quality of Georgia's educational system is ranked 7th in the nation based on those 129 indicators. Now, they group those 129 indicators loosely into about 6 different categories. One of those categories is called transitions in alignment. Georgia was the first state ever in the history of this report to score a 100 in the category of transitions in alignment. And we ranked first in the country in that particular subcategory. That category deals with the alignment of the educational system on the educational continuum from pre-K all the way through post-secondary to the world of work. And the transitions and alignment piece and the policies that we have in place for that, Georgia ranks top in the nation in that particular study. Now, I find it quite interesting that I imagine not a single one of you saw this in a headline in your newspaper. But there was another study done that made the headline of the newspaper, and it was one that was done by another organization, and it said Georgia receives D+. Well, you know what that organization graded states on? You know what their indicators were? Now, this study looks at 129 different indicators, including student outcomes, student achievement. This other study that made the headlines where we were given a D+ looked at one indicator, and that was the state's policy on school choice. But that makes a headline. So when we talk about creating a positive image for public education, we've got to know these things. We have to know we're doing well in some areas. Do we have some areas where we need to work? Yes, but we're headed in the right direction. Next, advanced placement results. Georgia moved up another rank in the 2012 scores. We now rank 12th in the nation in the percentage of our students taking advanced placement exams and passing them and earning college credit while still in high school. If you look at our African American students, guys, they rank 2nd in the nation. Our African American students are only surpassed by students in Washington, D.C. in the percentage of students passing AP exams and earning college credit while still in high school. That is a huge, do we still have some areas for improvement? Absolutely. The gap between our subgroups is still too large. We still have to work on closing that gap. But if you look just at our subgroups, our students are outperforming the rest of the nation. Very excited about that. All right, and then we looked at this map. We took a map of the country. As all of our results started rolling in for 2012, they were all good. And we wanted to know where we stood in comparison with the rest of the country. So we started with SAT. Guys, you know the SAT scores are the one thing that people beat us over the head about. You know, Georgia has ranked 48th for years. And we've been 47, 48, 49. We've been in that bottom 5 states for years. You all know and understand that part of that is the participation rate and how many students actually take the test. Georgia in 2012 tested 80% of its senior class. There's not a single state in the top 10 in the nation that tested more than 9% of its senior class. That has a statistically significant impact on your composite score. So we started with SAT. The national average last year in 2012 dropped 2 points. Georgia's went up 7. That's a huge jump. In the 23 years that I've been in public education, we've never seen that large a jump in 1 year in SAT scores. And that's a testament to the work that you're doing. We started with a map. Which states saw gains in the SAT? 25 states, half the country. We added ACT. We had a very small gain, but a gain nonetheless in ACT. And any gain on ACT is fairly significant when you think about the maximum score on that is very low compared to the SAT. So when we looked at who saw gains on the SAT and the ACT, that dropped from 25 to about 15. Then when we added in it dropped from 25 to 10. When we added in advanced placement, it dropped to 9. There are only 9 states that saw gains in SAT, ACT, and advanced placement. The only other test that we give at the national level, consistently across the country is NAEP in reading, math, 4th and 8th grade. And this last administration, we also did, or in the last administration, they also added 8th grade science. When we added in NAEP reading, those 9 states dropped to 5. When we added in NAEP math, it dropped to 2. And when we added in 8th grade science, Georgia was the only state in the nation where student achievement increased on every test. That's commendable. That is highly commendable when you consider in the circumstances in which that was achieved. Now, let me highlight this young man. Anybody from Fayette County with us? All right. This is one of yours. We introduced the Microsoft IT Academy this year. Jake Ruiz was selected. He finished first place in the state in the Microsoft IT